Hiya, gorgeous. Let's talk about working for free for too long. I'm Denise Duffield-Thomas, money mindset mentor, best-selling author and founder of the Money Bootcamp. And in my courses and books, I help thousands of entrepreneurs like you to actually charge for what you do, to release your money blocks and earn the money you deserve. And today we're talking about pricing, and one of the big mistakes I make people make is working for free for way too long. So if that's you, I've got a ton of things to talk about today. Because one of the most symbolic milestones of your business journey is really graduating from free to actually paid work. And for so many people, it feels like a leap too far, which is why otherwise very talented entrepreneurs get stuck in their day jobs for way too long. Now, I very deliberately use that word graduate when it comes to charging for your work, because it should feel like this natural progression, like graduating from an unpaid internship or an apprenticeship into an actual paid job. Now, real talk, graduating from being a moonlighter or a side hustler to being a full-time entrepreneur requires you to actually charge people money. At some point, you have to decide that you're ready, and that even if you'll never believe that you're good enough, you're ready to move forward and charge people. Now, I have a lot of tips for you in my book, Chillpreneur, which you can grab, but I want to let you know that being a chillpreneur is not about being perfect. You're never going to feel ready. You're never going to have enough testimonials. You're never going to feel validated enough or be free of all your doubts. And that's never going to change. That's the inner work that you need to do. That's crucial. Now, there's a difference between working for free and intentional volunteer work. I love doing volunteer work, and it's really healthy to build some philanthropy into your business, whether you're giving time or money. But you have to know the difference. Philanthropy usually feels really good, and it has no other motive than just giving back because you have enough to give. But if you're feeling exploited from your clients, you're going to feel out of alignment. So beyond doing things for charities, you might decide to work for free strategically, and there's nothing wrong with that. Valid reasons for doing free work might be gaining valuable experience, maybe you have none, or promoting your work strategically as a sales strategy. Maybe you want to gain exposure to your target market. So let's talk about these things. So gaining valuable experience. Now that sounds very valid. Maybe you're working towards a certification, or you need to log client hours to be certified, or you need some testimonials because you're starting something new, or you need some test cases for your portfolio or case studies for your blog. Now in that case, working for free is a really quick way to achieve your goal. So if that's you, cool, get them booked and just get those testimonials, get that experience. But just decide in advance how many people you'll do for exposure purposes or experience purposes and cap it at that, because you don't want to stay in apprenticeship mode forever. You're allowed to earn even while you're learning. Now, what about promoting your work? So some businesses can find customers by letting people try before they buy. So for example, you might have a book or a course. You can give away a chapter for free or lessons for free, and then you can finish with, and hey, if you like this free sample, buy my course, buy my book. And don't forget to make things like the payment link really obvious. You don't want to make people work to give you money. Now, what about as a sales strategy? Now, of course, sometimes people want to see if there's an energy fit before they commit to working with you. So sometimes you can do a small amount of work for free just to see if there is a good fit, and it can be a great sales strategy. A lot of service-based businesses often do this. So you could do like a mini makeover, not a whole web page or a whole website, but like a free critique of a sales page. Or maybe you can give some copywriting feedback to people who might be a good fit to working with you. And this isn't necessarily working for free. It's a taster to see if working together would be a win-win, but you can't overdo it and over-deliver it. Maybe you want to get in front of your target market. So I do interviews every single week on people's podcasts. Obviously, I don't charge for that because it's a win-win. However, nowadays, I'm so much more selective about what I say yes to. So you can do things for free, but you can still have boundaries around it. I have done my apprenticeship and I have been on people's podcasts where they have 5 listeners. but I've since graduated to podcasts and blogs that have a bigger reach. Now, when you're starting out, you feel like you have to say yes to everything, and that often could be a really good strategy. And then you become more discerning as you go on, and you'll figure out what to say yes and no to over time. Now, what about speaking at people's conferences or at their events for free? Now, I get asked to speak free all the time, not just like, hey, can you come and speak at my book club event in my local town, which I say no to usually to keep my home and work life separate. But people ask me to get on a plane at my own cost and travel to the other side of the world to speak at their conference. Some people might think, well, there's no harm in asking. Maybe she's in my neighborhood at the exact time and date of my event. Nowadays, I say no thank you to those kind of opportunities, even though in my early days, I felt like I had to say yes to everything. And you know what? Before I had kids, I was like, oh yeah, I'll go. That wouldn't be a big deal. I'd go to that event anyway. I'll go speak. Why not? But then as I've gotten older and more experienced, and now that I have kids, I started adding up the true cost of me speaking for free. Now, often people book like the cheapest flight, so I had to pay extra to like check my bag or have more legroom, even though I'm short. And sometimes they didn't pay for a taxi to the venue. And you'd be surprised how many events don't provide even snacks or water for their speakers. So all of those things added up as well. And then I had like internet costs at the hotel, or I'd have to tip everybody, and I forgot to factor that in. And then when I started speaking more, I realized that to feel really confident to perform well, I needed to look my best. So I would get like my hair done, I'd get my nails done. That all added up as well. And then now that I have kids, there's childcare costs and all those indirect costs about being away from my family. All of that stuff added up, but I used to just discount it and do it for free. Now, there's prep time as well. If you invest your brain power into speaking at other people's conferences or events, that comes at the cost of developing your own income producing assets. Now, if you're an introvert like me, you might have to factor in recovery time. Like putting on a bra, putting on Spanx. Like that costs me time and energy, could wipe me out for sometimes days at a time. Now, if you don't value your time and energy, other people won't as well. And like, let's face it, sometimes it can be fun just to do a freebie or do something for somebody else, but it costs you time. You have to just get honest with yourself and calculate all of your costs. And then you can decide if it's worth doing for free. And sometimes it is. Sometimes speaking for free is worth it. Sometimes getting in front of someone else's audience is worth it if it's your target market and if you can get enough potential clients on the back end later on to make it worthwhile. Now, I've noticed that when I do something for free to the wrong audience, it takes a huge amount of effort for me to perform. And then I suffer for it later with like kind of an integrity hangover that takes time to recover from. Now, I once got booked to do a really cheap, like inspirational keynote for a group of middle management government workers that were mostly men, which was not a good fit. And I turned up in like a sparkly blue caftan talking about manifesting, and it was just the wrong crowd. And then I've been booked for college events and things like that. And if it's the wrong crowd, you just feel wrong about it. So don't get guilted into speaking for free or very cheap, even if it's a good event or you feel like you should, or you feel like you can't say no. So many people I meet have this unlimited capacity for giving, and they just feel greedy if they expect something in return. But your talents are worth charging for. So if this sounds like you, if everything I've said sounds like you need to work on, maybe you need to put some clear boundaries around the scope of your giving things away for free. You know, if you're giving away a certain amount of coaching or consulting hours or giving away lots of your talents for free, just put some boundaries around it. So when it's done, it's done. Now, what if you're doing free work in exchange for a testimonial or footage? Make sure you follow up and actually get it. You'd be surprised about so many people, they do the work and then they don't want to ask for the testimonial, even if it was agreed to upfront. So it's not even win-win in any way. If you're doing free work, you have to make it worthwhile to you as well. And if you do free work for someone, let them know how much your rate normally is so they can value it, especially if you're going to have an offer for ongoing work in the future. And if you don't want to work for free or you're finished with it, it's totally okay just to say no. Working for free isn't bad in itself, but just make sure you're doing it intentionally so you don't feel bad about charging and you don't feel resentful about it as well. And remember to add up all of those costs. And then you can choose. You can be intentional about it. But you don't have to work for free. You can graduate yourself to paid work at any time. You don't have to wait for anyone else to do it. You're worth it now. Now, I can't tell you what to charge, but I can help you make sure that your money blocks don't sabotage your pricing and your income. And you can grab a free workshop that's amazing, all about the 7 most common money blocks and how to clear them. You can get that for free at denisedt.com/blocks. All right, you are allowed to charge, you're allowed to graduate to paid work because it's your time and you're ready for the next step. Hey gorgeous, it's Denise here again. I would love to invite you into my brand new free money masterclass. I'll be talking about 7 big money blocks and exactly how you can clear them. I want to help you break free of your limiting beliefs so you can go to the next level of income. It's going to be easier than you think, but it all starts with getting out of your own way. Join me today over at denisedt.com/blocks and let's get started together.